I have goosebumps on my entire body right now. When people talk about, oh, I just got stung, and they don't scream, I don't see how they do it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I thought I would bring you guys along while I got a ton of garden maintenance done. I got a bunch of harvesting done. I got caught up on all the weeds. I did a lot of pruning and just all sorts of other things. I thought that I would try to give you guys some motivation to either clean your gardens up, or maybe it's just a Saturday and you want to sit back and relax and drink a cup of coffee and watch me do all the work. So I thought I would take you guys with me while I took back control of the garden. It took me 3 full days working in the garden, so I decided to put this video into 2 separate parts. This is part 2, so make sure you go back and check out part 1. Okay, so yesterday I got stung by a bee and I never came back to harvest any of these. So now I am even more hesitant to harvest these, but I really want to put some of these in my friends' bouquets. So we are going to see what we can get out of this little celosia patch. I also need to just cut some of them back that have gone to seed. Make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see, how to harvest seeds from various flowers, because I am going to have a ton of videos here shortly on how to save seeds from celosias, zinnias, sunflowers, marigolds, beans, tomatoes, just all sorts of things. Even the leaves are gorgeous. Look at these beauties. The next chore is to tie these babies up. Look how much they've grown. It doesn't even feel like I didn't plant these until a month ago. I mean, look at it. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others, but I mean, look at the growth. Obviously, they would already be up to the top of the cattle panel by now if I didn't have to pull them out twice. But I'm so pleased with how these are doing. But today I need to tie them up again. I've already did a little bit of the Florida weave type of trellising. And then I went through with some of these clips that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I just wrap it around the tomato stem, and then right where it clips together, I smash the string in between it, and that keeps it from going, to the left or the right. It keeps it right where it's supposed to be. And then on some of them that were tall enough, like these, I've done the same thing, but only I trellised it to the cattle panel. I need to get out here. I have blue tomatoes. What variety is this? I think these are the blue beauties. Yay! So exciting. So usually I would use something like this to tie up the tomatoes, but this year I've been using those little clips, and then I've been using this here that I saw on Laura from Garden Answers channel. So all you do is just wrap it around, and it has a wire in there so that it stays just like that. It's so much easier than using string and having to tie it in a knot and everything else. they don't feel like they have a thick enough wire in them. I may need to go for a better brand because I feel like those are going to just come undone with a little bit of wind. But hopefully you can see how I'm doing this here, attaching it to the cattle panel. I found 4 of these while pruning today. Alright guys, so it has only been 5 days since I filmed the video of me tying these tomatoes up and watering them. And I just had to show you this because the growth on these things have been so amazing. I have to prune them again already. Look at all of those stems sticking out. All of these suckers, they already have fruit on most of them. We've got some large tomatoes. We have got a ton of berries, crazy cherry down here. Do you guys see all of those on that one truss of tomatoes? That is crazy. And there's a ton more down there that you might not even be able to see. This is my first year growing this variety, and it's just crazy. Let me see if I can get a better look. It's gonna be hard to even get back there to harvest those guys. That's why I'm trying to keep these pruned pretty good so that all of the suckers and stems are in the front. That's another reason why I left as much room as I did, so that the ones that did make it back here, I could have my 8-year-old come back and prune for me. But yeah, I just had to show you guys this amazing growth on these tomato plants in such a short amount of time. Look how tall that one is. I went ahead and weed-eated some of the weeds that were growing here in the pathway. I need to cut back those zinnias, and then I need to cut back the weeds in the rest of the garden. They're too deeply rooted to pull at this point. I had my husband come out here and see how hard it would be for him to pull one, and he pulled one like in this area, and it took out like a 1.5 square foot area. It was probably from like here. Sorry, you can't see my finger. It was probably like that right there. Nuts. And it was about, oh, I'd say about 8 or 9 inches deep. So I just can't. The audio somehow got damaged on this clip, but basically all I was saying is they're just too difficult to pull by hand, and even if I was to have my husband pull them by hand, it would take too much dirt with it. So I was saying that I was just going to cut them back down to the ground so that they don't go to seed and drop hundreds of seeds. And then I was going to take care of it in the fall when I had more time. But then my wonderful husband decided to come out and help me. Do you guys see this? Oh my goodness, you don't know how good it feels to have all of these weeds out of here. It has been a few days, so we do already have some growing back. But do you remember what this looked like? Oh, it's such a relief. My husband, I swear he is the best. He knew I was stressing about this. He knew I was stressing about all of the weeds going to seed and me having an even bigger issue with it next year. So he came out here and he helped me. He helped me to pull all of these weeds out. He took like a trowel and cut the roots around the root ball of the weed so that it didn't take so much compost with it. And then he, got them all out like that. And then we got all of the weeds out of all of the beds in between the plants. We took all of the Dusty Miller and everything out of this bed, but we left the yarrow and a few other things in that bed and just weeded around them. But as you can see, there are a lot of weeds that have already grown back here, and that's probably all of the seeds that dropped from those weeds. There were some that you could tell as soon as you touched it, there were seeds falling out. So it would have been ideal to get them, you know, about a week earlier than we did, but at least we got them. And we got some mulch that was given to us just to temporarily try to suppress them. But what I would have liked to have done is put down more landscape fabric on the walkways and in this row, put down some cardboard over it, and then put the mulch on top. But this is just what we had to do with the amount of time that we had. Between now and spring, I will put something else down. I may just put the landscape fabric on top of all the mulch and put the cardboard on top of the fabric until my new landscape fabric comes in. I ordered some that I'm hoping is going to be a lot thicker and do a lot better job. Let's see about harvesting some basil. Look at this goodness. Oh, and it smells so good. You see how this one still has like a ring around the center, and this one's pretty full almost all the way to the center. This is not going to last as long in the vase as this will. It looks like this bed is able to breathe a little better. There are still more things that I would love to cut down and cut back, but I've planted just so many things in this bed that it's just a tangled mess, and I just don't have time to work on it right now, to be honest. All right, so here is the perennial cut flower garden. My wonderful husband is getting ready to help me pull out all of these zinnias, all of the dahlias, because most of them have just rotted away anyways. And all of weeds. We are going to get this bed good and ready for the tulips and daffodils that are going to be arriving in a couple weeks. Doesn't this look so much better? I love the feeling of a fresh, clean bed. But it's only been a few days and I can already see that this landscape fabric isn't doing its job. I can already see that there are weeds beginning to grow up through it in the spots that aren't overlapped. So we will have to come out here and pull this back and do a little weeding before I plant my tulip bulbs, which I don't know if I mentioned, but that is what is going to go here. I want to wait until the Lisianthus and a few things have gone to seed so that I can gather those seeds, and then hopefully I can do that before the bulbs come in. I can rip those out, and then we will have this nice fresh bed to plant the tulips in. So this is where the little half section of fencing was, and last year I had tulips right here and right here, and then I had a little section of daffodils down the center. I think I ended up with about 70 tulips and maybe 30 daffodils. I did leave them in this bed. We'll have to see what they look like when we start digging to plant this year's tulips. Because of the flooding though, I doubt that they made it. They probably rotted out. But this year I ordered about 350 tulips and about 70 daffodils. I'm so excited, you guys. I cannot wait. I ordered like just all of the colors, all of the types. I've got parrot tulips, I've got the fringed tulips, the lily tulips, some that are just really tall, good for cut flowers. I cannot wait until I see them blooming in the spring. I did buy a couple single varieties, but most of them were mixes, so it's going to be a surprise when those go to bloom. But yeah, so I greatly increased the number of tulips I am growing this year, and I'm hoping with the tulips that I grew last year and the pictures that I took that I'll have lots of pictures in order to market them to my customers. Last year was my first year growing them, so I couldn't really market them until I had them in my hand, and it was my first year selling flowers, so a lot of them just didn't go to waste, but they just didn't go into customers' hand. But look at the blooms, you guys. That's so exciting that they are sending up a second flush. I will definitely be planting my Lisianthus somewhere where I can leave them all year, all season, because these things take so long to grow. You don't really have to baby them, but you have to, keep them watered, keep them, take care of them for such a long time. There's no sense in pulling them out after the first set of blooms when I can leave them and get even more stems from them. I'm hoping to grow a lot of these next year, a lot of different colors, and I'm hoping to be able to sell some of these to some florists in my, neighboring towns. But enough rambling. I just wanted to say that is what is going to go in this bed, is tulips and daffodils. I am going to probably rough up the compost a little bit, and then I'm going to put the bulbs in, and then I'm going to get more compost to lay down on top. I'm not going to be digging to plant them because we need to build this up anyways because of the flooding issue. So that's what we're going to do. And hopefully I will be able to leave these bulbs in and save them until the following year, at least the daffodils, and hopefully we'll be able to let them naturalize. The tulip, as most of you probably know, for cut flower purposes, they're usually not able to naturalize if you cut them so short. So those probably not so much, but if I could get the daffodils to naturalize and not rot because of the flooding, then that would be really awesome. So here is what these containers are looking like. I just watered them. They were severely dry. But I wanted to just come in close and give you a good look at what I need to do before the sun goes down, and then I will probably wait until it cools down a little bit because right now the sun is right on the porch. So yeah, I will wait until the sun goes down to take care of this container, but I wanted to give you a good look at it. So I will just come in here and deadhead these, then I will remove any of these brown dying leaves. Sometimes I come in with the verbena and I will take these off, the spent blooms. And then here is the other container. The sweet potato vine died in the other container, so this one has a sweet potato vine, but the other one doesn't. So again, we will just take care of these leaves and clean this container up.